Hey guys, Stitches here, and welcome back to some more Let's Play Yu-Gi-Oh! The Sacred Cards. Last time we went around town challenging several low-level duelists. We went to Kaiba Corp and even dueled Roland, as well as the duel computer, though we lost to the duel computer, so we'll go back and rematch it at some point. And then we dueled Bones and received Pumpkin the King of Ghosts as a prize card, and we received our first of the, or rather our second locator card since we started with one, but we won our first locator card from somebody. Now, I do want to go ahead and correct a few mistakes I made in the previous videos, since I recorded those back to back. So first off, I don't think I actually talked about what deck, what am I looking at? Oh, that's what. Sorry, my computer like bugged out for a minute and I was like, what's going on? So, I kind of decided I wanted to go over each of the main duelist decks, based on what is listed on Yugipedia. Mainly because I kind of want to talk about the decks in this game and why the sequel is so much harder. So, we're going to talk first about Bones' deck. Bones plays one copy of Pumpkin the King of Ghosts in his deck, and then he proceeds to play the only monster cards as well. So he plays 3 copies of Shadow Spectre, 3 copies of Skull Servant, 3 copies of Dark Plant, 3 copies of Mech Mole Zombie, 3 copies of Air Marmot of Nefariousness, 3 copies of Phantom Ghost, 3 copies of Bat, 3 copies of Jinzo number 7, 3 copies of Fungi of the Musk, 3 copies of Bone Mouse, 3 copies of Pot the Trick, 3 copies of Thousand Eyes Idol, and 3 copies of Bite Shoes. So, I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually even play any of the cards that go with Pumpkin the King of Ghosts. And I think this was done to make him not super hard to deal with. He's very clearly meant to be the low-level first duelist, major duelist you face. So, you know, that is something. But also, one thing I want to talk about is there is a bug in this game I want you to be aware of, where there is a very small chance, and we're talking it's a 0.05% chance that you just don't receive a prize card. And this is because prize cards only stack up to the 2047th chance. It's just some weird programming bug. So there is actually a very small chance you don't receive the scripted prize cards. If this is the case, there is actually, I did kind of lie, there is a way you can obtain cards later. You can obtain copies of cards because there is a card shop later. As far as I know, almost every card except for very specific cards are available in the card shop randomly, so if you don't get a card, don't worry, you can always buy it later. Just know that you will not get a copy of Pumpkin from rematching Bones. Additionally, I don't think I actually really talked about what characters or what cards Tristan can drop and what deck he played, so Tristan is very similar to Bones, plays a deck of exclusively monster cards. Oh no, my screen started blacking out. So Tristan plays one copy of Jinzo number 7, and then the rest of the monsters he plays 3 copies of. Those being Skull Servant, Zone Eater, Steel Scorpion, Dancing Elf, Uguchi, Swordsman from a Foreign Land, Mechanical, Spider, Bat, Sinister Serpent, Caterpillar, Dark Eyes Illusionist, Thousand Eyes Idol, and Unhappy Maiden. By the way, those last 3 cards only have 0 attack points. Tristan also doesn't have a monster with more than 500 attack, and that card is Jinzo number 7. So you can pretty easily beat Jinzo, or not Jinzo, Tristan. I mean, you can pretty easily beat Jinzo. Additionally, if you use light monsters against Tristan, monsters of the light summon, he will never be able to actually destroy a light monster. And the reason for this is because he doesn't actually play any shadow summoned monsters. Tristan also has an anti-pool, a very specific anti-pool. These cards are organized by card type. We have, first off, 4 spell cards, being Machine Conversion Factory, Soul of the Pure, Ukazi, and Exile the Wicked. As for monster cards, he can drop Ancient Tool, Ground Attacker Bugroth, Ogre of the Black Shadow, Cyber Soldier of Dark World, Megasonic Eye, Ryou, Saber Slasher, Machine King, Giant Mech Soldier, Metal Dragon, Gigatech Wolf, Cyber Soldier, Mechanical Chaser, Blocker, Golgoyle, Giganto, Dice Armadillo, Sky Dragon, Metal Fish, Mech Bass, Sea King Dragon, Garvis, Cybersaurus, Cannon Soldier, Guardian of the Throne Room, Monstrous Bird, Neck Hunter, Steel Ogre Grotto, number 1, Ancient One in the Deep Forest, Rose Spectre of Dun, Nico Gal, Royal Guard, Machine Attacker, Tri-Horned Dragon, Serpent Knight Dragon, Skull Knight, Beast of Gilfer, Banisher of the Light, Lightning Conger, and Acid Trap Hole. Now, out of these cards, there's not very many good ones. I do recommend, if you can, get your hand on Serpent Knight Dragon or Tri-Horned Dragon, you should, because these are very powerful Divine Attribute cards, even though you won't be able to play them until you reach level 255. And even then, they cost so much in your deck, you're going to need to water down your deck with Spell and Trap cards. Due to Spell and Trap cards being a lot cheaper in this game, I'm assuming because of the idea that they didn't really know how to balance this game so they just assumed that the monsters were kind of there. But if you actually make good use of spell and trap cards, which you won't be able to really until you get to the card shop, keep that in mind. But yeah. Machine King, unfortunately, isn't that impressive in this game. He doesn't have any effect. In fact, I don't think any of these monsters are effect monsters. Sadly, for whatever reason, the wiki doesn't list whether a monster is effect or normal. But the main thing you would want to get from Tristan, I would say, is the trap card Acid Trap Hole. Acid Trap Hole in this game has the effect that, to explain what trap cards do again, trap cards trigger when opponent's monsters attack. Acid Trap Hole is one that reacts to monsters with 3,000 or less attack and destroys it. Additionally, Tristan Taylor is the only duelist you can actually get Acid Trap Hole from. I think I also said that the deck cost maxes out at 255. This is actually not the case. This is just the case for a lot of the divine monsters. I don't know why I'm not dueling or something to talk. I'm done reading the list, so now we can duel. I don't think I'll lose, but... Oh, you were my anti-slave. So, I did say that it caps out at 255. I did see a straight-up card that contradicts this. Being a card called Thunder Nyan Nyan. Thunder Nyan Nyan has a, it has a, what am I trying to say? Thunder Nyan Nyan has a deck cost of like 289. It gets up closer to 300. It's not a good card, or like a particularly valuable card. So, you know, keep that in mind. I also wanted to make one last statement, which is that Roland plays the exact same deck and has the exact same anti-pool, from what I can tell, as the dual robot. I think the only exception is that Roland cannot drop a card called FGD, which is short for 5 God Dragon, which in the West was instead had its name changed to 5-Headed Dragon. If I can find Roland's thing, here it is. Additionally, Roland plays one copy of 5 God Dragon in his deck and 1 copy of Lord of D. 2 copies of Red Medicine, which makes him quite hard, but his deck is largely Thunder themed, and he benefits from the Mountain Field card largely. His deck consists of cards that are also used by Mokuba and Seto Kaiba, with the exception of FGD, which FGD is instead just a card that is related tangentially to those characters. I'm also gonna say that, Roland can drop the cards Hitotsumi Giant, Ryukushin, the Wicked Worm Beast, Battle Ox, Judge Man, Sagi the Dark Clown, Man-Eating Plant, Crocodilus, Grappler, Yakuteno Megami, Mystic Horseman, Rabid Horseman, Dark Energy, Ryukushin Powered, Swordstalker, Lejin, Mystical Genie of the Lamp, Crush Car, Rude Kaiser. I switched those two on the list on accident, but it goes Rude Kaiser and then Crush Card. Shadow Spell, which is a magic card in this game. Same with Crush Card. Steel Ogre Grotto number 2, Lord of Dragons, Vorse Raider, Gadget Soldier, and FGD. Roland also does not have a set card he gives you, unlike other specific characters. He's kind of just treated as a duelist who has the exact same things as a dual robot. Anyway, starting out with some duels against Bones here. We actually got Yami as our first card from it, or our first card of the day here. So this is the first instance of a field card. These are a few special cards that are spell cards in the game that have lingering effects. This also changes the texture of the field, and there is one texture for the field for each field card. I have not seen all of them, considering Yami ends up being the most prevalent one. Yami means darkness in Japanese, as a lot of the early field spells were just named after their Japanese names. So Yami transforms the field into darkness. It benefits magicians and fiends and disadvantages fairies. I lost again. Shall we duel again? I do like the fact that Bones actually seems like very chummy with the player. They make it so a lot of the characters you can choose to either be nice or be mean. And being mean to them actually in a lot of cases means you won't be able to duel them again, meaning you won't be able to easily obtain a lot of their prize cards. So, you know. I guess to talk, I don't know if we went over the deck that Roland and the computer actually play. So Roland and the computer play 1 copy of Lord of Dragon, 1 copy of 5 God Dragon, 2 copies of Red Medicine, Yamatano Dragon Scroll, Lala Leon. Or they play 1 copy of Lord of Dragons, 1 copy of FGD, 2 copies of Red Medicine, and then the rest of the cards are 3 copies, being Yamatano Dragon Scroll, Lala Leon, Petite Dragon, Droll Bird, Kami Urikozu, Wicked Dragon with the Ursat's Head, Kurama, Electric Snake, Mega Thunderball, Niwatori, Electric Lizard, and Lightning Conger. I feel like I did say it, but I don't know. I'm saying so much shit right now. Anyways, I think that's enough talking. Like, not forever, but like, enough talking about that for now. Because all I've done is list off words. Giving you a nice healthy serving of word salad today. Go Sandstone. But yeah, as we lower the volume of monsters in our deck, I will teach you a little bit how to balance, how I prefer to balance my deck. Because I actually do prefer to play a lot of spell and trap cards in this game. But like, you only get a few spell and traps to start with. Got a second dragon zombie. We're still too low. What is our duelist level right now? 128. So yeah, we're not gonna be able to play those cards for a while. The main thing is this game does encourage grinding to play a lot of the good cards, which I think is one of this game's weaknesses. So, you know. Anyway, is there anything going on at the toy shop? Alright, Joey's here. So if we talk to Joey, yo Stitches, hey, I did it, man. I wasted no time in getting my first locator card. How are things going for you? Hey, way to go. You've only started... hey, hang tough. Now you can choose to duel Joey here, and he will actually accept your challenge. Joey has a very interesting deck. So the deck he will play here consists of one copy of Metal Morph, which is a spell card in this game, one copy of Guilford the Lightning, one copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon, 2 copies of Ancient Jar, 2 copies of Pot Trick, and then from here on out, it's all 3 ofs, being Time Wizard, Masked Clown, Eye Armor, Steel Scorpion, Swordsman from a Foreign Land, Mechanical Spider, Bat, Cyberstein, Jinzo number 7, Armed Ninja, and Queen's Double. Now, if you heard me say Cyberstein, don't get your hopes up. It's a normal monster. Now, as for his deck here, he actually doesn't play too much of a threatening deck here. His highest attack cards that he can just summon right away have like 700 attack and 600 attack. So honestly, with our current deck, we should be good. The main issue is if you don't have the right removal, he will eventually get out either his Guilford the Lightning or Red Eyes Black Dragon. Additionally, he will drop a random card in this duel, being either Baby Dragon, Swamp Battle Guard, Battle Steer, Flame Swordsman, Time Wizard, Rock Ogre Grotto, number 1, Mountain Warrior, Carbonella Warrior, Armored Lizard, Wolf, Tiger Axe, Koji Kochi, Garuzis, Thousand Dragon, Axe Raider, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Battle Warrior, Black Skull Dragon, Guiltia the D-Knight, Kunai with Chain, which is a spell card, Salamandra, which is also a spell card. Though that's normally a spell card. I was just noting that Kunai with Chain is a spell card as opposed to being a trap, like it is normally. Red Eyes, Black Metal Dragon, Panther Warrior, Swordsman of Landstar, Alligator Sword, Tiny Guardian, which is, I believe, Little Wing Guard. Gearfried the Iron Knight, Alligator Sword Dragon, Rocket Warrior, or Guilford the Lightning. Now, if you do miss out on getting Red Eyes Black Dragon here, you can get it from the shop, but later you will duel him again, and he will guaranteed drop a Red Eyes Black Dragon. So let's go ahead and duel him. I'm hoping we can get to the card shop today. I missed the card that I was gonna ante. Here it is. Okay, this is a good starter. Sorry if this video's commentary is also more word salad than you're signed up for. I just want to give, like, an honest, in-depth look at the game, considering this game is considered, like, a niche game. Here we go. No, not Earth. I don't even think we need to summon a card. Got 500 Domino. We got Garuzis. Garuzis is not a bad Pyro. It's Beast to Warrior type. That barely fits. They are really struggling to fit that card there. It's got 1800 attack, 1500 defense. For a level 5, that's pretty good. Darn, he lost. Well, it's good that it's only you. I'd better get rolling. Such as the finals won't be easy. See you later. So yeah, you do get a duel against Joey, and I believe this is time sensitive. So this, I think, unlocks after you beat Bones at least one time. So once you've gotten the locator card from Bones, you can duel. Now, I actually want to check my trunk. I'm not going to try to do the duel simulator again for now because we already beat Roland and it wouldn't be worth it. The duel simulator, though, does, in my opinion, become a better card grinding area when compared to Tristan. Tristan just doesn't drop. It has too many drops that are bad. He's honestly just there so you can get a wide variety of cards. And honestly, I recommend, if you want to make your run interesting, go and duel Tristan like 5 to 10 times and see what cards you get. Maybe even force yourself to use them. Some people do challenges for games like this called a Highlander run or a Singleton run, where you can only use one copy of every card in the game. So if you want to challenge yourself like that, go ahead. This game is fun once you know the inner mechanics of it. Anyway, I think all that's left is you. Yeah, what is it? I don't duel with obvious losers. There's no point. Well, you want to challenge me at your 1P level? I don't have the time for that. I guess I don't know really where else we're supposed to go. We're supposed to duel you next, aren't we? Actually, I think we have options, because I think I haven't shown this, but if we go over here, we can actually go to a few different places. Right now, we only have 3 places here on the town map. First is the art exhibit. Coming here will grant you 2 opponents and also 2 fake Rolands, telling you that the art exhibit is off limits. Hi, you're a duelist, aren't you? Just like me, we can't get into the art gallery. They don't want us playing our card games inside. Good idea, they can't complain about us here. Might bet that Garuzis. Ha! I win via game mechanics. Could sacrifice you to draw a card, but I think I'm just going to use you for some raw stats. Amoeba. But yeah, and if you're worried about Dark Hole being like a bad card, honestly, it's good to have at this point in the game when you don't have other options. Spell card, you will get better options that do eventually just phase it out. Like there's a version of the card called Raigeki, which only obliterates the opponent's monsters. There's a card called Heavy Storm, which is in this game Dark Hole but taken to the max. It just obliterates all cards on the field. And then if you want to go even further, I believe there's a card called Final Destiny, which obliterates all cards on the field and in the hands. So if you really want to be like that, you can. It makes the game boring as shit, and they give it to you in the sequel as one of your starter cards, and I'm like, why? Just give me good cards, Reshif of Destruction. To this day, I have not beaten Reshif of Destruction. I started a playthrough of it a while ago and took a break from it because I was getting so turnt. Because I kept losing to Panic. Anyway, we got a copy of Niwatori. Whoops, I lost. You're like way strong. And over here is Ryou Bakura. Stitches, aren't you friends? Why aren't you with your friends like Yugi? I slept in after writing a TRPG scene last night. I made it to the tourney just a little while ago. You can actually duel Bakura here. Bakura is an interesting character because despite him being like a main character, he only duels you one time. And then like never again. I heard something shift on my desk and I'm not sure what it was. Alright, so Ryou Bakura. Bakura plays a deck that consists of Destiny board of 5 trap cards. These are all separate trap cards, being Spirit Message I, Spirit Message N, Spirit Message A, and Spirit Message L. Dark Necrofear, which is a monster, and these are all at 1 copy. And then he plays 2 copies of Bone Mouse, 2 copies of Pot the Trick. Then the rest are 3 ofs, being Shadow Spectre, Tomasaurus, Mystery Hand, Mechmole Zombie, Air Marmot of Nefariousness, Candle of Fate, Jinzo number 7, Wretched Ghost of the Attic, Bite Shoes, and Spear Cretin. Upon defeating Bakura, he will give you a copy of the Portrait Secret, which is a vanilla monster with 1200 attack and 1500 defense. And a relatively decent cost of 183. Honestly, a card where if you can put it in your deck, I would. But yeah, some people might also be astute to notice that you don't draw a card going second in this because your hand is at capacity. Now, I'm not super sure, but I think the game still checks to see if you can draw. Like, it still checks to, like, do the draw functions on all turns, but just because your, just because, like, your hand is already full, like, you're already at the max hand size of 5, you can't draw cards. So the game just doesn't draw you new cards. Speaking of drawing cards. Actually, this might be worth it here. I do want to see something real quick. So you can do that. Okay, so the card, after being transformed into the ritual monster, does get an attack. I didn't know. I haven't actually used rituals that extensively in this game. Rituals are actually, like, up there as one of my favorite card mechanics in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's a very underutilized mechanic. And we're just about at the end of this duel. And boom. Opponent's out of LP. We got 5 deck capacity, 3,000 domino, and the portrait secret. We're still too low to use it, but this card does have some flavor text that I'll go ahead and read, because why not? The portrait secret is actually a card I kind of like out of the old vanillas. A portrait painting that has a sinister reputation of bad luck. It is said to bring misfortune to all who own it. I don't know, I guess you could take this as kind of a thing, like a fuck you if you look into the lore of the card. Also, this card's Japanese name translated as the one lurking in the painting, which I think is crazy. The meaning's kind of the same there, of like, oh, you know, it's the portrait secret. Arg, I guess I need to be, or I need to prepare to, excuse me. Arg, I guess I need to prepare a bit better. After all, you've been winning your way up. I'll have to put more thought into my deck. I need to hurry up and get some locator cards. I want to get the chance to play Yugi again. I'll do whatever it takes. Not ominous. Bakura's evil. He's actually the main antagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, which is to say, Duel Monsters is like the scene, like the first 4 seasons of the anime that consist of like Yugi and Joey and like all that before we switched over to new characters. Anyway, we can also go to the card shop. You're a duelist too, aren't you? Are you doing good? Yeah, is that so? But if things aren't going well, there's a solution. You should buy some cards at this card shop. Oh, are you going to the card shop? I am too. I can't seem to put together a really good deck. Okay, let's duel. By the way, I'm not going over every single NPC deck. Oh, here we get to hear this duel theme. I actually really like this one. No! Fuck. The fire monster curse of not being very good. I don't actually know what like the summon pie looks like in this game, so I don't know if I mentioned Goddess of Whim has 950 attack, which is pretty decent. 50 attack stats are actually really good in this game. At least in my opinion, they're pretty decently worthwhile. I don't know, I think some of the music in this game is really good. Also, why does Goddess of Whim just have her pits out, bro? Like, what is that? Goddess of Whim is fetish content, question mark? Goddess of Whim actually has a very different effect in real life, being that You do something with flipping coins. It's like real effect is like you flip, like 3 coins or something, and for every 2 heads you draw a card or something. It's something like that. It provides absurd advantage, if you can actually focus on it. Well, not like a good strategy, it certainly is a strategy you can do. What's the LP standings? Alright, if I sack 2, we can go for a lethal. Holy blast. There we go. Acid crawler. No. Wait. I need to improve my deck still. Yeah, so you actually can't duel her. But yeah, if we go in here, we can come to the card shop. Gotta find selection of cards. So the card shop, the way the card shop works is kind of interesting. So the card shop is specifically a place here. It also says RPG hobby trading cards. And it's also based on the card shop from the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. This is implied to be the same card shop that Taya and Yugi went on a date to, so... So the way the shop works is 50 random cards appear in the card shop each time the player wins a duel, although there is a glitch where there's a small chance of less than 50 being added. Each card is given a probability out of 30,000 of appearing in the shop. However, the random number generator is biased, making some cards slightly more probable and some slightly less probable than their assigned probabilities. There's a list of spawn rates. I am not going through the spawn rates. Just no cards can spawn. Anyway, here's the list of cards you can buy. Oh, there's 2 Exodia pieces in here. What's that? You can play Exodia in this game. It's not good, but it's definitely an option. Ooh, Swords of Revealing Light. We won't be able to play that for a minute, but... Here's Thunder Dragon in its weakened state. I don't know, we'll go through the... We'll take a good look at the cards here in a minute. I'm just joking, Arcane. No, the manager will be furious if I did. Interesting. It seems like there's something sinister with this card shop. But before we do that, there is this machine over here. Please enter the 8-digit password. Cards have an 8-digit password that you can enter, and doing this will... doing this will add the 1 copy of the card to the shop. So adding a copy of the card of the shop means you can purchase it and then put it in your deck, assuming you meet the requirements. If you don't know what an 8-digit password is and don't know where to find these, they're actually listed on the bottom corner of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. They're an 8-digit string. For example, if I were to get a any Blue Eyes White Dragon card, that has passwords printed on them, because passwords kind of were only a thing after and Blue Eyes White Dragon in the bottom left corner of the card has 89631139 written. So if we go ahead and enter that, 89631139, and hit OK, hey, Blue Eyes White Dragon will show up, and now we can buy this. Now, I'm not sure if there are any cards exclusive to this method of obtaining, but it is certainly a method of obtaining cards. Now, there are some good cards we can get here. Cards actually do have a formula for how much they cost is calculated. Each card in the shop costs a number of domino equal to the deck cost times 4 minus the amount currently in the shop. The player can also sell cards to the shop for half the price they would be able to purchase them at. So if you got cards you just don't want, and they're like low-level cards, you could sell them for very small amounts of domino. Is it worth it? Nah, you get a lot of domino in this game, so much so I wouldn't even know what to do with it all. Anyway, here we have Karibo. I am actually going to buy a copy of Karibo. Karibo has a strategy I prefer. It can power up all monsters on the own field with an attack of 500 or less. So yeah, Gyakuteno Megami can be a good card if you have like a lot of weak cards. There's a Red Eyes in here. This is mainly though why I would recommend you duel a lot of grinding. Every win effectively nets you 50 potential cards you can add to your deck. So what does Fiend's Hand do? It can drag an enemy monster from the field to die together. Oh yeah, it does a mutual, it does a 1-for-1 trade with an opponent's monster. Here we have Toadmaster. Summons a frog to jam. This is another example of a duper, but this is what I like to call a... I kind of put this in a separate group, which are cards that do summon another creature, but it's not the same. Nemuriko is interesting. It stuns all monsters currently on the opponent's field, so it can be good. We also have M Warrior. It powers up M Warrior number 2, and this powers up M Warrior number 1. Phantom doing Doron! There are 4 copies of Doron in the shop. We're gonna buy 2 copies of Doron, and that will be going into our deck as soon as we actually get to that. Trapmaster can set Acid Trap Hole on your field. He's a pretty decently good card. Especially because it's one of the few times a card can be created. Hourglass of Life is interesting. It powers up all monsters on your field for 1,000 life points. This card can be really good, or it can be really bad. We're getting insane shop drops. Here we have Beast King of the Swamps. This naturally has a different effect, as its effect is it can pull all monsters on the field and drown them in a swamp, so it kills everything on the field. Down here we got some spell cards, like Sword of Dark Destruction. Powers up a dark type being. I don't know who all can be targeted by that. Elf's Light. Powers up an elf and etc. But yeah, the equip cards, honestly, like, they exist. Stop Defense, a spell card that can make all enemy monsters only capable of attacking on the next turn and thus not able to defend themselves. Yeah, Stop Defense can actually be good in this game, because it can force your opponent to attack with things. Effectively forcing your opponent to lose on their own turn? What is this? Machine Conversion Factory. Machining factory that converts and modifies all machinery. It's just the powers up machine cards. Dragon Capture Jar. It will suck in every dragon on the opponent's field. So this nukes all dragons. Here is Raigeki. Basically the upgrade to Dark Hole. Oh my god. DN Kita, the Cure Masters here. We have Swords of Revealing Light, which are duelist levels too low, but this makes it so for 3 turns your opponent cannot attack you. Here we have Goblin Secret Remedy. This boosts LP by 1,000. DN Keto boosts by 5,000. So, you know, these are both reasonable upgrades to our Muyan Curry card. We also have Hinotama, which inflicts 100 damage. Final Flame, which does 200 damage. And Ukazi, which does 500 damage. Burn cards are somewhat limited. In this game, we have the Labyrinth Wall, which is just a big defending card. We have Sangha of the Thunder, which I don't think actually does anything. Might be involved in a ritual card. Here we have another Goddess of Whim. Here we have Dragon Seeker. You can destroy every dragon on the opponent's field, so it's kind of like Dragon Capture Jar, but a monster. We have Spirit of the Mountain. It turns the field into a mountain. He's one of the few monsters that specifically summons a field effect. We got some Skelingles we can buy. We have Lava Battle Guard. It can power up Swamp Battle Guard. But yeah, here's a card that costs over 300, being Dark Elf. Dark Elf is absurd because it's a 2k attack point card. Here we have Spirit, Destiny boards and Spirit Message I and N. So I'm not fully sure how this works. I'm assuming the way these cards work is you set them on the field in this game and then they immediately go off. In the real life game, the way it works is that Destiny board is a continuous spell card that every turn brings out, or it's a continuous trap card that brings out the Spirit Message continuous spell cards. And therefore will eventually spell out the message final. But down here is where we get some trap cards and some ritual cards, like Zera Ritual, which can transform Ryukushin powered into Zera the Mant. Or this card, which summons Super War Lion, which needs 2 monsters, and Leogan, or Beastly Mirror, which needs Fiend Reflection and 2 monsters. Commencement Dance. You need Water Emotics. The thing you'll notice about all ritual cards is they actually cost a whopping 0 points to put in your deck, so you may want to focus around them, which is kind of what makes them good in this game. This card summons Sengenjin, which you need Totsumi Giant and 2 monsters. All ritual spells are pretty much just you need 2 monsters. There are some that are special and are like, oh, well, you need this. Anyway, down here are some trap cards. Here we got Acid Trap Hole, which I've already explained its effect, so needless to say, that's going in our deck. Bear Trap, also going in the deck. Eat Gaboon, also worth it. Fake Trap is a 0-cost card. But yeah, trap cards sell for very cheap. But yeah, here we have Goblin Fan, which reflects specifically spell and trap cards that, or spell cards that do damage. Bad Reaction to Samochi, which reverses the effect of any healing spell card. Reverse Trap, any card, or that powers up a card cuts its power down, so it just makes the power up a negative instead. Here's a card that I think is very good, Multiply. This is a very good card to use with Kuriboh. It fills your entire field with Kuriboh. Here we have a card called Inexperienced Spy. It lets you see all the opponent's cards in the hand. This doesn't sound that great, but 1, hand knowledge is something to be aware of. It can help you, but 2, if a card in your hand is revealed, when it is played on the field, it actually doesn't go face down, meaning the card effect can't go off. Meaning in very specific duels, you can actually prevent your opponent from using their thing, which can help with very specific opponents that play absurdly powerful cards against you, including the final boss. Here we have Infinite Dismissal, a trap card that causes immobilization when it is tripped. This is a 0-cost card, so naturally you can buy it for 1. Back into the Darkness. It just removes a card from the field. It also states if attacked, it destroys a monster on the opponent's field. I don't know if this is a mistranslation with the card, or if it's just, oh, it just doesn't do that. Anyway, here we have Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn lets you take the top monster from the opponent's graveyard and put it on your side of the field. It also has its, strangely, its Japanese artwork, despite this being the American version of the game. And over here, well, we have Messenger Piece. What does this do? A spell cast by a fast mobilizes all monsters on the opponent's field with an attack of 1500 or higher for 1 turn. Oh. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Darkness Approaches is a card I recommend playing when you start playing more effect monsters in your deck. It is a spell that is used to conceal the identity of cards. It makes all cards on the player's field face down. Why would this be good? Well, this card has a unique combination effect. Being that if it turns an effect monster face down, that effect monster's effect can be used. So, you know, if you have like a, I don't know, let's say Doron on the field, this turns all Dorons face down. Those Dorons can use their effects. Now, you can't do it all in one turn. You do have to wait because of the exhaustion rule, where cards can only do one thing per turn. So yeah, here's Final Destiny if you're insane. It destroys all cards on the field and in the hands. Here we have Torrential Tribute. Trap card that has the dire consequences to anyone who trips it. In this game, it destroys all monsters on the foe's field. It's basically Mirror Force. In real life, I believe it's if your opponent summons a monster, you destroy everything. Amazon Archers. This powers down a monster on the foe's field. So yeah, for whatever reason, the shop can also sell Pot of Greed, I guess as an anti-card. I guess. But, like, there's not really a reason to be playing that. We have Legendary Fiend. It has the ability to power itself up. So it can sacrifice that first turn out. We have Brain Control, which takes an opponent's monster for the turn. Change of Heart, which takes it permanently. What does this do? I don't actually know. All the Magnet Warrior monsters in this game are effect monsters, which just have an effect being if you control all the monsters, that it then sacrifices them to play Valkyrion, the Magnet Warrior. Trent, I believe, makes a forest. I'm honestly not sure if there's any cards I do want to specifically get. Anyways, I guess it's deck building time now. And we are going to be removing a lot of cards from our deck. So we're going to start by looking at our monsters and really cutting anything that isn't necessary at all. So I'm actually going to cut Bolt Escargot. And Last Warrior from Another Planet. This way we can worry less about cards that need tributing. We're gonna cut Water Element and Turuparun and you. And we are moving both copies of Doron into the deck. Moving Karibo into the deck. Not all spell and trap cards are basically free, though. Hold on, we gotta get to it. Did I just miss my cards? Or is this one of those things where it's gonna be all weird? Here, we're gonna go to quantity. But yeah, you can see we're definitely getting up there, so we need to cut cards. You do need to focus on the deck costs as well. But yeah, Doron is just a card I really think is all that in a bag of chips, so... Are there any cards we have that are just kind of like redundancy in our deck? We're mainly looking at removing monsters, so like... I honestly don't know, because I feel like a lot of these cards, like, are just that good. We could honestly remove Contract of Mask, and a big reason for that is... I mean, there's kind of no reason actually to remove that, because that is a zero-cost card, so that wouldn't be smart to remove right now. By the way, I do think there is a requirement that your deck needs at least one monster in the deck. I don't know if that's true necessarily, but, you know. Why would you cut so many cards? But yeah, using quantity can also be good to kind of sort through the cards you don't want. Or using quantity rather is like sorting through the cards you do want. Specifically looking for those cards that you need. What are you? You're Forest, so I honestly, I don't know if I need you. And I'm not really sure I need Starboy either. Trap Master, you cost 103 points. What are you? You're shadow type, so I think honestly I can remove Shadow Spectre to replace with Trapmaster. Now, Trapmaster, I think in the real game is just like, it's a flip monster that destroys an opponent's card. That's it. Now, the thing about Raigeki is that you honestly should just switch out your Dark Hole for Raigeki. Because it's realistically only a 10-point upgrade, cost change. And then there's Dian Keto, which would be nice to play. Dian Keto would be nice to play, but it is 100 points, which isn't that expensive in like the long and short of it, but we'd have to remove cards from our deck. I don't even know, like, what are we? We still have a resounding monster quantity. Alright, we'll see if I can do what I want, but first I'm gonna add 2 copies of Skillingle into my deck. Mainly because Skillingle's ability to just dig in the deck is that good. And then we don't have room for Dian Keto. We're just barely short by some points. Multiply is also a 100 cost card. I honestly think Multiply is more important as well. I think this is a case where we have to do something. I'm just not sure what exactly we have to do. Like, I'm not sure what the move is here. We can slot in like a 115 cost card. Oh wait, infinite dismissal. Forgot about you. Infinite, good old infinite dismissal card I just bought. Alright, I think this is a decent deck. Oh, we have Ikaboon as well. Well, here's the thing. How many, like, monsters are in my deck? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. That's kind of a lot still. I think we remove little Chimera. We put in Ikaboon. Alright, and then do I have any other cards that are sneaking around? There's you, but you're like a 60-point card. So you're more like a save for later type deal. Unless I can just take out Ikaboon and put in Torrential Tribute, actually. No, I don't think that'll work. Actually, I'm gonna put in Stop Defense, just so we have a little more variety. I don't want to go full 3 copies of everything. By the way, 3 copies is the max copy of cards you can put in your deck. And Monster Reborn and Pot of Greed are both limited to 1, so there's no point. Anyway, now that we've souped up our deck, I think that'll be it for this one. So I'll see you guys in the next one, where we'll find our next duelists that we'll challenge. So I'll see you guys then.